Greetings all, I'm Mike with StereoNET. We are going to dive right into the new marvel from KLH Audio, the Model Fives. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and stay connected with our new content stream we will be providing you with. This classic looking re-engineered retro stand mounter is my new favorite speaker. When I heard that KLH was back on the scene, the first thing that came to mind was countless pairs of inexpensive speakers that I would come across at like thrift stores and garage sales over the years. Never did I expect that its newest product would create a huge rift in my perspective on the audio world. Longtime Klipsch executive David Kelly purchased KLH Audio Systems in 2017, renamed it KLH Audio, and put together a team to resurrect the company. He wanted to honor the vision that the original owners, Henry Kloss, Malcolm Lowe, and Joseph Hoffman, had for the brand back when they launched it in 1957. After a candid conversation with KLH chief engineer Kerry Geist, I quickly realized that this newest incarnation of the classic name wasn't the KLH that mass-produced budget boxes back in the 1980s. This is now a completely different company altogether. With the speaker you see here, KLH set out to create a product that would not only pay homage to the Model 5 of the past, but also represent its best efforts to make the highest level of performance available in a speaker system of reasonable size and cost. At $9.99 per speaker, the designers have produced a three-way sealed box, so-called acoustic suspension stand mounter that's said to have a wide frequency range, low distortion, and exceptionally uniform response across the audible frequency range. Let's get up close and personal with the Model Fives. The African mahogany veneer, the old world linen grill cloth, and the styling used for the input panel and the logo are all based on the original. Even the packaging artwork is based on the original. That avocado green used on the carton and manual is based on the color trends that were popular at the time the originals were released. KLH wanted to have fun with the project, but at the same time, looking at it from the standpoint of how Henry Kloss would have envisioned a Model 5 in the year 2021. KLH designed the drivers and crossover network using modern techniques and equipment to optimize the performance of the individual components, which include a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter, a 4-inch pulp paper cone mid-range driver, and a 10-inch pulp paper cone woofer. The 13-element crossover divides up the work between the drivers at 2,850 Hz and 380 Hz. The cabinet is made from a 3/4-inch MDF and is a sealed box design. Kerry told me that the main difference between a sealed and bass reflex enclosure is in how they behave below the speaker's low frequency roll-off point. Generally, bass reflex designs have good output down to their port tuning frequency, typically around 40 Hz. Below this, the bass output falls off like a cliff, attenuating at 24 decibels per octave. In a sealed design such as this, the output above the roll-off point isn't as strong as a bass reflex design, but its attenuation rate is much lower at roughly 12 decibels per octave. This gives lots of useful extra output very low down, which is especially welcome considering that modern recordings feature much more sub-bass than classic ones. This speaker carries over the attenuation knob from the original Model 5, but has been changed, so it's better at taming difficult room acoustics. Unusually, it decreases output above 400 Hz by -1.5 dB and 3 dB on its mid and low settings respectively. The default high setting keeps it at a flat 0 dB. The effect of the attenuation switch is fairly subtle and not immediately noticeable, so there's no real huge audible difference. This speaker has a quoted frequency response of 42 Hz to 20 kHz and is said to be -10 dB down at 32 Hz. Its claimed sensitivity of 90.5 dB is good, making it recommended for amplifiers of 20 watts upwards of 200 watts as the manufacturer stated. Nominal impedance is put at 6 ohms, dipping down to a low of 3.5 ohms at 140 Hz, so it's not hard to drive either. KLH says the maximum SPL is 112.3 decibels, so headbangers will be happy. My reference system used to test these speakers is comprised of a Premier DD15 CD transport, a Bluesound Node 2i music streamer, connected to a Parasound P6 preamplifier, and powered by a StarkSound 84.320 amplifier. Connecting these components were digital cables from AudioQuest and power and speaker cables from Audience AV. While streaming, I used the music service Tidal, which provides in my view, a higher resolution experience than some other offerings, while having a large catalog of music to choose from. The speakers were placed in the center of my listening area, approximately 6 feet apart from one another. KLH recommends they sit between 6 to 24 inches from the rear wall. Now, how did it sound? To my ears, the new KLH Model 5 sounds extraordinary. Its detail retrieval and sound staging are on par with some of the best stand mount speakers I've ever heard. It images effortlessly, creating an immersive listening experience. For example, my go-to musical piece for testing stereo sound staging is Chocolate Chip Trip by the rock band Tool. The beginning of the song has a myriad of instruments trickling from left to the right channel, creating a waterfall of sound across the room, which my review pair of Model 5s delivered skillfully. Frequency balance was smooth and even from top to bottom, with no nasty peaks where the drive units cross over. Yet despite its fine tonality, there was plenty of clarity in the mid-range and treble, which added so much life and energy to whatever I was listening to. Vocal and instrumental clarity were such that I felt really connected with the music, which is most important. Numb by Linkin Park turned out to be a fascinating listen through the Model 5. This is a reference recording of mine. Not only can it test low, mid, and high frequencies, but the late Chester Bennington, lead singer of the iconic band, had a 3-octave tenor vocal range, with sometimes even spanning 6 full octaves in certain songs. This big KLH speaker passed the test effortlessly. Many designs I have tried over the years haven't been able to maintain the song's balance, whereas this demonstrated Chester's voice and the band's instrumental harmonics absolutely beautifully. The treble reproduction is surprisingly good. Unlike many, this aluminum dome tweeter isn't too forward and complements the rest of the speaker's sound beautifully. Highs are silky and gentle, ensuring that you hear all the music's upper harmonics in an impressively distortion-free way. I tested the speaker with a movie to see how it would perform in a home theater environment. Running my AVR with 2 channels was a handicap since most movies are multi-channel, but the KLH did great. I played the racing scene in Ready Player One, which has powerful bass and mid-range transients. There are some scenes where a collection of coins falls to the floor, and this makes a high-frequency racket, but the Model 5 wasn't too harsh at all. It didn't quite have the precision that I'd hoped for though, so I think the design has been voiced primarily for 2-channel music use. The latter is where it really impresses, giving a super seamless bottom end on Hans Zimmer's 2049 from the soundtrack to Blade Runner 2049. Here, it served up some wonderfully deep, tight, and articulate bass. Compared to its closest market rival, the JBL L100s, I found the Model 5s to be better balanced and more enjoyable to listen to. So what's my final verdict? So is the KLH Model 5 a good buy, or is it just bye-bye? Definitely the former. Many listeners will find it is a match made in heaven because regardless of musical genre, it sounds fun. It delivers memorable experiences when all too often speakers can sound rather just matter of fact, kind of boring. Its classic look are also a serious plus as far as I'm concerned. The styling channels a completely different era in loudspeaker design, even if the engineering is a modern take on it. Of all of this you've just heard, I have awarded the Model 5 StereoNET's Applause Award. All details and links can be found in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and give the video a like to let your fellow audio enthusiasts know it's worth a gander. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for a lot more content coming soon.